Welcome to Coffee Break with Rachel Vigil, presented by Superbook Sports. Taking a daily look at the biggest stories in Denver sports and interacting live with you, the Coffee Break fam. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of joe, and enjoy your coffee break. Here's your host, Rachel Vigil.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Colorado Avalanche hockey is back today. Mike Evans is going to join us here in a little bit. We're going to get into a few tidbits that you can talk to your coworkers about. That's some exciting stuff, some sad stuff too. But first, I need to ask you all in the comments, have you seen the Sasquatch video? And if so, do you think a Sasquatch is actually out there? If you have not seen it after the show, go look it up. There's apparently a video of some sort of large, furry, hairy creature that is walking around in Colorado. Some people on a train had spotted it. I'm curious. I am invested in this. My producer, Matt, and I were just talking about like stuff in the ocean. We're like, there has to be more to the ocean. I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. Do you believe the Sasquatch is real? Because I'm fully invested. I spent way too much time yesterday, looking at these videos and stuff, being like, is this an actual person or what is this? A few tidbits to get into. If you are a Buffs fan, you are happy to hear. Earlier this week, Travis Hunter was obviously back at practice, but Coach Prime says there is a tremendous chance that Travis Hunter returns this weekend against Stanford. Now, if he's not a fully 100% healthy, then it's kind of like, well, do you really need him against Stanford? They're really heavy favorites right now, so get him another week of rest, but it's great to see him out at practice. On some rather sad note, let's go with this. The Denver Nuggets, Brendan Malone, father of Michael Malone, has passed away yesterday. The club released a statement. Of course, we want to pass along our condolences to the Malone's family. Coach Malone did not coach last night in the preseason game. However, again, we're just sending our love and condolences over to that side of the family. On a good side for the Denver Nuggets, Christian Braun, they are picking up his third-year option. You love to see that. He was obviously, I don't want to say a role player, but he definitely played a big part in what the Nuggets did last year to do a championship. You're hoping that he's going to be with this organization for a long time. I've seen plenty of Braun jerseys out there. Hopefully he's here for a really long time. And I guess I shouldn't say Braun. It's Brown. Christian Braun, everybody. Don't be Brown. It's clearly I need some coffee or something this morning. Mike Evans is going to join us here a little bit later. So good morning to everybody in the comments. Let's check in really quick. It's hockey time. We're on to Kansas City. Good morning, coffee break. Yes. I love to see it. LOL, it's a promotion. Are you talking about the Sasquatch, RJ? Let me know in the comments, because if it's a promotion, then I need to stop looking at videos for all of this kind of stuff. But yes, definitely interested. Let's move on to the Jeudy stuff. Obviously, yesterday we played the audio of Mike Evans and Stink talking about Jeudy and Cortland Sutton, and essentially how Jeudy would never play on a team for Stink, right? Everybody saw that audio. It went crazy. Jeudy went on to respond, called Stink, I want to say like an old man or something of that nature. I didn't want to bring up the tweets because I don't want to encourage it, but things got a little crazy yesterday on social media, and it kind of came back on this thing of like, Jeudy, what are you doing? It's time to grow up. It's time to stop the Twitter fingers. And I'm sitting here thinking about this so much yesterday because everybody, like all my friends and stuff, are texting me being like, did you see what Jeudy tweeted back? And like, it just became this whole thing. And I'm like, we're not talking about Jeudy anything on the field. And I know that's how it started because Mike or Stink was essentially going on and being like, you know what, like Jeudy, you're not trying hard enough. Like there's clearly other issues out there. And I'm like, we are literally not talking anything at all about Jeudy's on-field play anymore. It is all about everything going on off the field. All of his incidents that he's gotten brought up, the time that he spent in jail has gotten brought up. His Twitter fingers. It's like 2 times in 3 weeks that now he's running his Twitter fingers. And everyone's like, Jeudy, grow up. People are going to be critical if you're not putting out a good product on the field. Grow up. Stop tweeting at things. And then it really got me thinking, why is none of the leadership in that Denver Broncos locker room saying, dude, cut it out? I just go back and I think to some of the older teams in Denver Broncos history. Like the no-fly zone, I feel like would have been the first ones to be like, yo, cut any of that out. Like, let's not do any of that. Let's not associate with any of that. And I get it. It was a much better Denver Broncos team. But why isn't Justin Simmons going, hey, Jerry, like, let's just cut it out, dude. Like, focus on what we can focus on in the locker room. Stop tweeting out at people. Stop doing that. Especially the whole tweet about after they beat the Bears, it doesn't even make sense. You got to win. People were critical because, yeah, they thought you were going to lose to the Bears, a very bad football team. And I'm not seeing any other leadership step up and say, hey, knock it off. Like, we're going to focus on what we can focus on in the locker room. So it makes me wonder, like, is the locker room out there really that bad? James Palmer obviously had put out on NFL Network essentially a few days ago that they believe a blow up is essentially going to happen to the locker room. Like, lots of stuff is going to change in the next coming days, which leads us into this whole next part, which Sean Payton, you got to really think about this man, okay? Sometimes I feel like he's super honest and you're like, okay, Sean Payton, that's exactly how you feel. Example, the kicking situation during training camp. We knew that the kickers during training camp weren't going to be the kickers that the Denver Broncos were going to have on the season. And we were correct by that. Didn't happen. They brought in Will Lutz. He's now the kicker for the Denver Broncos. But Sean Payton gave us that information before really even giving us that information. He was honest and said, oh, they're competing against everybody, all 31 other teams too, all of those kickers. And so it was like, okay, you kind of just told us that the kicker's not going to be on the team. We get it. A couple weeks later, Will Lutz comes in. He goes on to say yesterday, I want to pull up the quote. And I'm not sure if Sean Payton is putting on a show or if he's just being honest, and I want your guys' opinion, so let me know in the comments. He goes on to say, George Payton and I talk every day, 3 or 4 times a day. We're not looking to do business with any of our players. Well, that just made everybody in Broncos country freak out right there. That doesn't prevent teams from calling at times. You pick up the phone, but that's kind of where it's at. We've got a good handle on this current roster and our vision for the roster a year from now. That's the part about improving and getting better. Until you just said it, I wouldn't have known it was 3 weeks away. 3 weeks seems like an eternity right now. Sean Payton, I hope you're lying. I really hope you're lying and that the fact that you do know that the trade deadline is in 3 weeks, you want the roster to look different because it's time to move on from so many of these players. Blow it all up. Who cares? If you really didn't know, that should be concerning for Broncos country. Now, maybe he's just trying to raise the prices on some of his players, which you would love to see, right? Maybe you can get a 2nd or 3rd rounder for Jeudy, for Courtland Sutton. I really don't know what you're going to get. Maybe you're swapping picks, right? You're trading Courtland Sutton for a 7th and then getting a 6th back, that kind of thing. But I'm really just a little concerned that if he's telling us the truth, they're really not taking any calls. It's not good. It's not good. And again, I want to take everybody for what they believe, but I also understand this business. But I really, really hope that they are picking up the calls. And if the offer is right, Sean Payton and George Payton will 100% make a deal to start this all over because it's time. It's been too many bad years of just plain suck. And we're over it. We're done with it here in Broncos country. Let's blow it all up. Let's get a new locker room out there. So I'm definitely want to see what you guys have to say about this. I thought Sean Payton would have better control over these guys, get Jerry off the phone and onto the practice field. I agree with that statement right there. Thought we were going to be anonymous donors. What happened to that? But again, if your head coach isn't doing that, as players, why would you follow suit? I wish that was the case. I again wish leadership was definitely giving us a little bit more too. So it's definitely frustrating. And again, you want to see trades. I think everybody in Broncos country. I think Andrew Mason did a poll on Twitter after the game on Sunday, and it was do you want them to just blow this all up, or are you okay with the current roster in hopes that they just get better? And 4% of people had said, we're okay with the current roster, they're going to get better. And everybody else was yep, blow it up. 96% of people were blow it up. We're done with this. It's time to move on from Russell Wilson. Everybody. And tomorrow, you guys on the show, we're going to get into the Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes comparison. It's kind of fascinating, and it kind of just shows you how much the pieces around Russell Wilson are really struggling. I just saw somebody who walked in. Our very own Mike Evans just walked in because, of course, Avalanche hockey is back, and I am so freaking excited to be able to talk about this. Nathan McKinnon, obviously, we're sad about Gabriel Landeskog going to be missing this season. Cale Makar, lots of other things. Hello, Mike Evans. Hello, how are you?
I'm pumped. Hockey's back. And the Avs are ready to go, and it's Stanley Cup or bust. So let's do this.
Stanley Cup or bust. You think this team?
Oh yeah, no. This is what
this is giving you 2022 vibes.
This is the beauty of the Avalanche right now, the window that we're in. It's all about Stanley Cup or bust. And I love it. I love the fact that there are real expectations, that the bar is set high. And, even last year when it ended in the first round, it was disappointing. But I think with the benefit of hindsight, it was maybe for the best thing, really, because a couple things come out of that. One, you have a much longer off season than the one that they had.
Get some rest
after winning the Stanley Cup. They were like turning around right away. This way they get a chance to rest, recharge, get rejuvenated, get hungry again.
Yeah.
And also, I think it just kind of gives you an extra motivation that maybe wasn't there last year. And that's no fault of the Avs. We see it all the time in professional sports. It's tough to repeat. And I think we saw some of the reasons why it's so hard to repeat with the Avs last year.
Well, and here's the thing, too. Chemistry matters so much. I feel like sometimes chemistry gets pushed down. We're seeing that even in the Denver Broncos locker room right now. Like, chemistry means a lot. So for this Avalanche team, it seems like they didn't have the best chemistry. Every time you walked in the locker room, it felt like there was some, like, angst in there. You were kind of like, okay, not everybody's getting along, that kind of thing. And that's hard when you're losing. But the fact that so many of these guys know each other or have known how to win at that level, it brings you a little bit of extra confidence of like, okay, they may understand if things go low for a little bit, they can get back up.
Well, and here's where we're at with this team. They have a core that I'll put up against anybody else in the NHL.
Great.
Anybody else, if you're a fan of another team and you think your core is better than what the Avalanche have, bring it on.
Nah.
We're going to fight. I mean it. We're going to fight.
Get the gloves out.
Because I'll put the Avalanche core up against anybody. But that's not the key. The key to this year's team is what's around this core. Because what we learned last year was that the pieces weren't good enough. The puzzle pieces did not fit. Don't listen to me say it. Don't listen to Rachel say it. Listen to Nathan MacKinnon, who at the beginning of this training camp said, I never felt like we had the right team to win it all again. Boy, that's telling, isn't it? So don't listen to what they say. Watch what they do and look at the moves that were made. Look at all the guys that were gone from last year's team. JT Compher, Alex Newhook, Lars Eller, Evan Rodriguez, all gone. Bunch of new guys coming in. That's the message that's being sent by this front office, that the supporting cast wasn't good enough, wasn't the right mix. And now we're bringing in a whole new bunch of guys. Let's see if it's the right mix.
It's so funny how Nathan MacKinnon says something. We're all like, okay, Nathan MacKinnon, don't worry. Nathan MacKinnon told us not to worry about the Val Nichushkin stuff. We're like, okay, Nate, we won't. We're going to trust you on this because we know he holds this team and himself to such a high standard. And that's great if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan.
Yeah, he tells it honestly. He tells it like it is. And he is one of those guys that he burns so hot that you're like, hey, this guy, there's no filter.
Yeah.
He's not faking anything. So when he comes out and says, yeah, I don't think we had the right team to win it all, it's like, okay. And clearly Chris McFarland, Joe Sakic, the front office felt the same way. And now we go into a new season. And to me, as we start right away watching the Avs moving forward, I'm not so much interested in watching the guys that I know are proven winners. It's these new guys. And to me, it's watching Ryan Johansson. It's watching Jonathan Drouin, Ross Colton, Miles Wood, Tomas Tatar. These are the new guys that are being tasked with these important secondary roles that are so crucial if you're going to try to win a cup again.
Listen, I hope Tatar just gives us some goals because I love saying his last name. So I'm like, let's go. Okay, let me read you these lines real quick. Drouin, MacKinnon, Rantanen. Fantastic.
Well, and what's fascinating about that is Drouin and MacKinnon. They go all the way back to their junior days.
Mooseheads.
Playing up there in Halifax. And they had instant chemistry on the ice, off the ice. Great friends. And they're trying to rekindle that with that combination to go along with Mikko Rantanen, who is, I think, just one man's humble opinion, the most underrated player in all of the NHL.
Oh, I love that.
I think he's the most underrated. He's the most underrated superstar in the NHL.
See, I don't know if I would say underrated, but I would say underappreciated. Because everybody, like, think about last year, how many games was like, all right, everybody watch for Mikko Rantanen because he's going to go out there. But I don't think he gets this star power that a Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar get.
Fair enough.
So I'm excited for that line. Lehkonen, Johansson, Nichushkin. Second line.
Fascinating line, because here's to me the biggest issue of last year was they never replaced Nazem Kadri as the second line center. Now, don't mistake what I'm saying. I agreed with the decision not to pay Naz Kadri. So I was okay with that.
Did you bite your tongue a few times last year?
No, but it wasn't so much not bringing back Naz. It was, how are you going to replace Naz? Mm-hmm. And my feeling always was, hey, I'm okay for giving some of these younger players a chance to step up, be given more responsibility, see if they can fill Naz's role. But if it becomes apparent that they're not, then it's incumbent upon the front office to go out and make a move to bring in somebody who is Naz-like for the playoffs. They never did that. Now they go into this year with, once again, you're trying to find that 2C, second line center replacement. Ryan Johansson gets the first chance to do it. It's a gamble, because you're betting on him getting back to the level he was a couple years ago with Nashville, when he was really, really good. But does it send up any kind of a red flag for you that Nashville, the place that he was at for like 7 years, the team that knows him best, not only was willing to move on from him, trade him to a division rival, and eat some of his salary?
Yeah.
That sends up a bit of a red flag for me.
Well, and you have to look at Nashville and kind of, I think, their trajectory for the next couple of years for them too, right? I think that they are definitely trying to go younger. And so they were like, all right, let's move on. It's kind of almost what the Broncos are doing. I feel like there's all these comparisons when you're like, okay, let's just go younger. We'll get rid of this guy. We obviously have his contract. No one's probably going to take him, but if you're going to pay 50% of it, of course the Avalanche are going to be like, sign me up. We want some more leadership qualities here.
Well, but one thing we're seeing with the Avs, and listen, to their credit, they've been able to get more out of players than that player did in his old place, or they were able to get that player back to a level that he had been at before. And that's what they're counting on with Johansson and with Druin. And they're hoping that a Ross Colton, for example, on the third line we'll talk about here, is ready to take whatever he did in Tampa, which was good, and go to that next level here.
Cogliano, Olofsson, and O'Connor are the third line for tonight. No Ross Colton on there.
Yeah. So is he...
Oh, you know what?
No.
I read fourth line.
Yes,
I skipped over. That was my bad. I've been telling everybody. I'm like, how
am I going to tap dance around this one?
I'm like, I apparently need some more coffee in my system. It's Wood, Colton, and Tatar. There we go. I'm so sorry.
That's the prove it to me line, right?
Yes.
That's the newcomer line. That's the we're betting on you guys all doing things that last year's third line didn't bring. And it's a good-looking line. On paper, it's a good-looking line. Now let's see if they can live up to it.
Now fourth line, everybody. Cogliano, Olofsson, and O'Connor.
I think in Cogliano and O'Connor, you got exactly what you want from the fourth line. You're just looking for that fourth line to be out there, be an energy line, score the occasional goal, but go out there, give you an energetic shift, give you a good defensive shift, pop in the odd goal every once in a while, but be reliable enough that if you're Jared Bednar, you can feel comfortable rolling four lines throughout the course of a game.
It's kind of honestly the time of like, hey, we just need you to play good enough hockey that our first and second line can really get some rest real quick. And then they can go out there.
Just don't be a liability.
Exactly.
Okay? You don't have to be a difference maker all the time, but just don't be a liability to the point where Jared Bednar is like, I can't play you, or if I'm only going to play, I can only have you guys out there 5 minutes a night.
Walk me through this. Cale Makar, obviously during training camp, he was dealing with a lingering issue. And he says, well, it hasn't gotten worse, but it hasn't gotten better. What's your panic meter on that?
It's so hard to tell, because all we know is it's a lower body injury, right?
That's what I hate about hockey. I'm like, give me something else, please.
Hockey, come on. That's it. I love you, but you got adoring fans, loyal fans. Can you be a little bit more transparent than just these ambiguous terms when it comes to these injuries? But no, it's something to watch, because Cale didn't have a great year last year. He really didn't. And so how he bounces back is going to be crucial when it comes to winning a cup. Now, again, this is all pass-fail. It's about winning a Stanley Cup or not. And they need Cale Makar to be the guy that I believe, again, one man's opinion, but if I'm starting a hockey team, and I know I'm going to drive some people crazy with this, and I'm sorry to the Connor McDavids or the Connor Bedards or the Nathan McKinnons, but if I'm talking about a player who can dominate on both ends of the ice, 200-foot hockey player, dominate on the offensive end, dominate on the defensive end. If I'm starting a team today, you give me Cale Makar with no restrictions, that's the guy I'm going with. So this is definitely a big story to monitor early on in the season.
Me and you are one and the same, Mike Evans. I've been saying that. Also, if you want to get his cover of NHL 24, it does come out on Friday, everybody. So I'm excited for that. I am nervous, though. It's like, okay, well, Cale, if you're not 100%, we really, and like, once the season starts, you never get back to 100%.
It's like 82 game grind.
Grind.
Right? So you're right. You're absolutely right. So how he manages this throughout the course of the season is crucial.
Yep. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to see them all back out on the ice for sure. The other interesting thing is going to be Georgiev, because Pavel Francouz is obviously on IR. So it's like, well, how many starts then is Georgiev going to get? Is he going to wear himself out until Francouz can come back? I know they have Annunen, but it's like, how many times are you really going to test the luck with him?
Yeah, it's something to watch, because I just don't think the days of having your starting goaltender playing 60 games, I just don't think it makes sense when you're thinking about trying to win a Stanley Cup and the long haul, the grind that is trying to win throughout the playoffs. So keeping Georgiev fresh is going to be important, but you can't not trust your backup.
Yeah.
So I think that's something to bear watching. You know, give your prospect a chance to be the backup early on, but it's got to be one of those things that if you're not happy with what you're getting, you got to be in the market for a veteran backup goaltender. And there's always plenty of those types out there.
True. We have one comment that says, am I going to stay up for the whole game tonight? Well, it starts at 8 o'clock here, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This man wakes up super early. So Mike Evans, are you going to stay up?
Here's what I typically do. I'm able to make it through the first two periods.
Nice.
And then I fade. I just do.
What if it's like this close grind of a game?
Then I record it. And I get up about 15 minutes earlier than the ungodly 3:45 that I normally get up. And I'm able to catch the third period and come in with a fresh take on what happened in the game.
Oh gosh.
But it's rough. I try to stay awake, but it's a losing battle.
3:45. That's brutal.
Yeah, I know. I texted you at 4:26 this morning, and I did not hear from this young lady till about, I don't know, was it about 8:15
like
or so?
8, yeah.
Okay.
I typically
let me wake up. I can check my phone. Mike texted 4 hours ago.
I know. I was like dying. I looked at it. I was like, oh, well, he was up way earlier than I was. I'm typically the person that like has a really slow morning. So I give you props for your early morning. The fact that you bring so much energy. And here it is almost 11 a.m. and you still have the energy.
Let's do it. I'll crash hard later.
You can take your nap and then you can get ready for the game tonight. If you had to take a guess, Druin or McKinnon, who's getting a goal tonight?
Oh, McKinnon. That's kind of the relationship they have. Druin's kind of more the feeder. Mm-hmm. He's the setup guy. And McKinnon's the one that buries him in the back of the net.
Who you got winning tonight?
The Avalanche win tonight, of course. No, they're ready to go. I think this is a team that's been itching. It's unusual for them to have had that long of a break. The way that they went out in the first round, I think still stings. Mm-hmm. I think there's an excitement that comes with the roster additions that I think helps energize. I think one thing you've always seen a lot of championship teams try to keep that core together, but they understand the importance of bringing in new faces.
For sure.
Just to help keep everything fresh. And I think that you'll see a fresh, energized, rejuvenated Avalanche team eager to go tonight. The Kings are good. Kings are a good team. That is a legitimate threat in the Western Conference.
No, I'm with you. I do think that the Kings are going to give them a hard time. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for the Avalanche, although I love the fact that the Avs, they've gotten bigger. They've gotten a little bit faster. You'll love to see it. I'm excited to see those legs get back out there on the ice. I am also taking the Avalanche.
Avs 4-3 in a shootout.
Oh my gosh, you're going to have to wake up 15 minutes or like 20 minutes early then. You're going through a shootout.
Well, I won't know that until I wake up.
True.
But then I may have to fast forward through a couple because I always check the result first before I watch which kind of allows me to cheat a little bit with what I'm,
watching.
You
can read the headlines and see what you're getting into.
Third period might be like, oh, no scoring in the third. I'll just fast forward to the last 5 minutes of regulation, then into the show, and then
you figure it out. You know what?
This is not my first rodeo.
Let's just hope that the Avs port like 5 up in the first and second, and then you can go to bed nice and peaceful.
Exactly. I would like that.
All right. I want to move on to a little bit of Broncos talk, because obviously you and Stinks, a conversation about Jerry Jeudy took a whole nother turn yesterday. Where are you on the fact that Jerry Jeudy just seems like he just needs to grow up a little bit?
Yeah, he does, okay, so there's two sides to this, because one, he absolutely has to grow up. But I'm not in the camp that is just like, oh, just get rid of Jerry Jeudy no matter what, because Jerry Jeudy is not the first athlete to come into his sport and show some immaturity.
Yeah.
There have been plenty of athletes who've come in, who've been immature, who haven't figured it out, but eventually they do. And then what are you left with? Well, then you're left with the talent. Yeah. Then you're left with the potential. And I get that people are absolutely frustrated with Jerry Jeudy. And hey, be more concerned with catching passes and running the right route rather than responding to Rod Smith and Philip Lindsay and Mark Schlereth. I get it, but I wouldn't be just looking to give him away. Hey, if somebody's offering a really good trade package for Jerry Jeudy, okay, fine. But I think that there's a rush right now to just dump Jeudy, just get him out of here, addition by subtraction.
Yep.
Just be careful, because if this kid, and I'm going to call him a kid, if this kid ever figures it out and grows up and develops some maturity and some professionalism, what are you left with? You're left with a guy who was basically the unanimous number one receiver coming out in a wide receiver class that was deemed to be the best receiver class in the history of the draft. So you got to be careful and understand. I understand the emotion that people have. They're frustrated. Get rid of this guy, but be careful.
But are we learning that Jerry Jeudy doesn't want to be here? Because he sure seems to be picking on a lot of legends here in Colorado, that once your name kind of gets out there and you have some negativity with it, it's like you're kind of proving you may not want to be here and be along with the legends.
Yeah, and that's what makes it tough, right? Yeah. Because if you have people that don't want to be here, do you just say, fine, we'll accommodate you, see you later? Or do you hold some of these guys, or do you try to reach some of these guys and say, look, we had a chance to dump you. We could have dumped you for a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah.
But we believe in you. We see something in you, but we challenge you to grow up, to develop more maturity. We want you to be part of the solution here as opposed to just the garbage dump, right? It's a tricky thing to navigate. It's a fine line to navigate.
Greg Dulcich coming off of IR. They're not sure if he's going to play tomorrow. Would you like to see him out there? Or are you kind of saying this game might already be a wash against the Chiefs, so we'll see you back here?
If he can play, if he's cleared to go. At some point, this guy needs to just start playing. You know what I mean? We've been talking about him like, where's the ceiling for him? Oh, we can't wait for him to get back out there. And we're like, he's got the hamstring in the rookie season. Oh, we can't wait to get him out there. Then he gets out there and he shows some signs of being, hey, there's something there. And then he comes back this year. He gets hurt. At some point, this guy just needs to just string together several weeks to show us what he can do. And so at this point, if he can go. I don't want to baby this guy anymore.
I'm with you. Travis Kelce, the big question mark. Is he going to play? Is Andy Reid?
Which question mark are we talking about?
If he's going to be out there.
Oh, I thought it was whether or not Taylor's going to the game.
Trust me.
That's what I'm concerned about.
See, I would love that. I would actually love it more if she was coming here, but maybe that can happen in week. What is it, 8 when we play again? It's very soon.
Week 8. Yep, right before the bye. Yep.
That's crazy. It's so soon again. But Travis Kelce, we're not 100% sure if he's going to play. A lot of people, myself included, have said if Andy Reid says, you know what, Travis, just stay healthy, it can be one of the most disrespectful things you can say to another team.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, oh, we don't need our best player to beat you.
We're just toying with you.
Yeah, 100%. How do you feel about that disrespect? And of course, that nothing's been said or done. We don't know if he's going to, but I'm curious.
It's funny. I was talking to a friend of mine who works in Kansas City, and he said you'd be surprised at how much angst is going on in Kansas City right now.
Really?
They're not happy, and talk about first world problems. they're not happy with how close the games have been,
Wow.
that they're not putting teams away, that they're not as explosive on offense. There's grumbling about Matt Nagy, the offensive coordinator, taking the place of Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
So I think the sense in Kansas City is that even though it's the Broncos, even though they're the Broncos' daddy, I think there's a sense that, hey, if Travis Kelce can go, we need him out there because this offense is not humming along at levels that we are expected.
They've been saying that if Travis Kelce isn't out there, Patrick Mahomes has nobody to be able to give the ball to. Of course, Isaiah Pacheco is probably licking his lips, getting ready to go against this Broncos defense.
Right.
But yeah, it's fascinating. And it's so interesting because market to market, it's so different. I had talked to somebody from the Chicago Bears market, and I was like, everybody's saying rebuild out here. And he's like, it's fascinating to me because you can watch what's tried to happen. And we got the younger quarterback and we tried that and it didn't work. And yet you guys have a proven quarterback who's looking better. And yet you're just like, throw it all away.
Yeah, but I think that Broncos Country is tired of the Band-Aid approach.
Oh.
And, think about it. For the last 8 years, it's been, we're one different quarterback away. We're one different head coach away.
Yep.
We're one different offensive coordinator away. And all that they've done is just continue to kick the can down the road and look where we're at. So I think that there's this sense of enough's enough. Tear it down, start over. We'd rather deal with the need to be patient. I almost, and I'll throw it out to all of you as Bronco fans. I get the sense that rather than just feeling like, hey, maybe this is the year, or maybe this is the year, maybe this is the move, that you almost want to just take a step back, exhale, and just kind of be able to be patient.
Do you know Broncos
for
Country?
2 or 3 years and just watch things build without any feeling of pressure or expectations. I don't know. That's the vibe I get. You can certainly tell me on the comment section
I'm
full of it.
I'm sure they will. I'm like, let's see how that goes in 2 years when we're like, oh, the rebuild is started, but it's not looking good.
And do we have the right quarterback, young quarterback, all that kind of stuff? I know.
Oh, I don't think
but
Drake
I get
May's
the sense that people might be willing to try that.
Maybe. We're sick of the Band-Aid approach, like you said. Mike Evans, as always, an absolute pleasure having you on. Thank
Rachel.
you so much.
Love it.
Everybody in the comments, tomorrow night, we've obviously got Thursday Night Football, Broncos at Chiefs, but tonight we've got Colorado Avalanche hockey. I'm going to be watching the game. Tweet at me. Let's chat during the game, and we'll see you guys 10:30 tomorrow morning. Have a wonderful Wednesday, everybody. We'll see you then.